Surprise Shirts was sending me an FM edition box, and I decided whoever was in this box, I wanted to win a European trophy with. Only signing Newgens though, and yeah, I've got my work cut out because it's a team from Ireland. It's Bohemians, which are genuinely one of the best teams in Ireland. And this shirt, by the way, is absolutely stunning. But I've got to win a European trophy with them, and I can only do it by signing Newgens. So off we go. Let's try this one then. Now, here is Bohemian FC in Football Manager. You can see I've got the kits loaded. It's exactly the same one as I have now got on, by the way. Absolutely exceptional. And I do have a code for Surprise Shirts. OL10 if you get one, and OL20 if you go for the subscription package. You get 20% off the first one, but I'll tell you more about them in a minute. They also give you a nice little card, and then on this card of information, it tells you a little bit more about the club, so we can fall in love with it a little bit more. And some interesting stuff, actually. They were actually founded in 1890, so this is a very old club, which is absolutely fantastic. I love that bit of history. One of the oldest clubs, and they're proudly fan-owned. Yes, absolutely love that. As you can see, they compete in the League of Ireland, which we'll be playing in and trying to win a European trophy for. I don't think anybody from the League of Ireland has ever won a trophy, but one, they've been playing in it. They have actually won it 11 times, but only as recent as 2009. So it's not been a good time to be a Bohemians fan, but hopefully that will change. And the stadium, the Dalymount Park, which holds 4,500 seats, which very close on Football Manager, I'll give them that. Interestingly, was the venue of the last ever live performance of the iconic musician Bob Marley in 1980. Ha! Well, unbelievable. Right, so we're off to the races with Bohemian FC. Obviously, this is season number 1. We have got no transfers to talk about because there's no Newgens in it. The hardest thing is going to be is that the season starts in February and ends in November. So European football will take place throughout 2 different seasons. It's going to be difficult to work out, but I know you're along for the journey. Yes, now the team that we are rocking is a 4-4-2, but a narrow diamond formation with Lys Mousset of all players sat up front. They have got some decent players with Lys Mousset and this man Colm Whelan, but eventually, of course, this will be a team full of Newgens. Jake Carroll is also good, however, he has a big injury and will miss the whole of the first season, so we'll have to go without arguably our best defender. But with season 1 underway, there are 2 things that I want you to do for me. First off is make sure you are subscribed to the channel because this is going to be a long one, and 2, I want you to predict in the comments how many seasons it's going to take for us to win a European trophy with Bohemian FC. That's the Europa Conference, the Europa League, or of course, if we make it, the Champions League. Well then, with season number 1 done, we've got Devastation already. We lost the title on the final day of the season. Absolute heartbreak. Bohemian dropped down to second with St. Patrick's Athletic winning, and that is because in the league, we lost the last game of the season against Waterford 2-1. But you can see, thankfully, we did go on and win the Irish Cup, which is great. It took us until we actually got into extra time. But Shamrock Rovers, we defeated them 4-2 in the final. Buzzing with that. Shamrock Rovers are 3rd place there, so they were quite a tricky team, but they were nowhere near us in terms of the points. And that's quite important. 77 points for us. St. Patrick's Athletic with 80. Just unfortunate, really, isn't it? So looking at the league in terms of the player statistics, it's hard to say that St. Patrick's Athletic didn't actually deserve it because they have players everywhere. We have a couple. Colm Whelan got 19 goals. Paddy Kirk did quite well as well. Man of the match, Colm Whelan, and goal clean sheets. We actually had 2 goalkeepers in there. I don't think I've ever seen that, but we somehow managed to do it. 2 goalkeepers that we've got, James Talbot being one of them, and then we have this Polish goalkeeper as well. And I'm sorry, I'm not going to try and pronounce his name. Now, this is where it gets exciting because the rules of this save is I can only sign new gen players. And at the start, there isn't any. So now we're at the end of season 1, we'll start to get some through. However, we're still in November, which means there probably isn't because of how the season sets up. So yeah, I'm really focusing on just the scouts. We've got an okay balance. We've got an okay transfer budget. We've got 2 scouts. This is going to be really difficult to win a European trophy. And the scouts that we have got are not too bad. I actually focused on one of we can see there, he's quite good. Focusing on scouts that we've got. they're very good. So, although we're only allowed 2, we've got 2 good ones going into season number 2. Now, the benefits of this challenge and being at such a small club right now is that, well, to be honest, scouting range, we're only looking at Ireland anyway. So, we're not looking abroad where the youth intakes hasn't happened yet. The youth intakes in Ireland has happened. So, that's allowed us to just sort of only target Irish players. And that's what we've done. With the very small budget that we have got, we've basically picked off as many good players as that we could possibly find. We've got Jason McCabe here, fairly determined personality, looks all right on that left wing. Again, very similar from Thomas Quigley, but there's not a lot of options at this point. Michael McNally, even worse arguably, but I just seen a goalkeeper with okay determination and professional personality, so I went for it. And then finally, 155k, this might be a bit of a risk, but it's the only money we could spend, but he has 5-star potential. What he did when I scouted him, he has 4.5-star potential and a 1-star player. He is a midfielder, he is quite good. Ibrahim Tajori Shradi. Balanced personality worries me slightly, but determination's okay. I think this is obviously our best signing that we have made. Will he feature this season? Definitely not. And we're going again with that narrow diamond with Lee Smooth set up front. We've obviously got some players back from injury, long-term injuries, etc. We've also now picked up more injuries, but that's absolutely fine. We're starting the season fresh. We're at the very beginning. We can see we've won the Senior Cup, which is the 4th round. We beat St. Patrick's already. It took until extra time, but we have done it. We've got a friendly. Then the season starts very soon. So fingers crossed, we can lift a title in season 2. This season was also the first season we could win a European competition. We were in the Europa Conference League playoff, and if it wasn't for 2 very late goals and a goalkeeper mistake, we would have actually got through. We played Riga, who are a team from Latvia, and they defeated us 5-2 in the second leg, but 8-6 on aggregate after the game went to extra time. But you can see they scored in the 87th minute, equalised in the 91st, scored in the 99th, and then got their 8th in the 107th. Overall, though, we cannot be too disappointed with our season because we went on again and won the cup, again through extra time though. However, this time we got over the line and won the Irish title for the first time since 2009. 79 points, 9 points ahead of Shelbourne. We did very well, and Con Whelan was even the top scorer with 24. Now, once again, we stayed in Ireland in terms of our scouting. We did actually sell a player in Connor Parsons who left for 76k. That added a little bit extra to our budget, and you can see that helped us because we did spend it this summer. But here we go. We got Ethan Morrissey from Kerry, £7,000, but not a bad goalkeeper at all with 5-star potential. So way better than the trash that we bought last season. Hopefully they didn't hear that. Ashley White though, 12k from Longford. A striker who can finish. Can't do much else, but he can finish. And again, good potential. So it's a good start from us. Christopher Mackay from St. Patrick, stealing from our rivals there. 5-star potential ability again. Not a bad centre-back at all. And Max Devlin is the final player that we have brought in, who is 300k. Now, he is a very good centre midfielder. I actually think he might feature this season, but he is from Northern Ireland, so we've picked him up from Derry City there. Actually, there might be... No, there isn't one ball player. We're going to stay with this formation, and I'm going to lock in a couple of players because I think it's time. I think it's time we start locking in the Newgens and start building from the front straight away. We got Brian McCarthy, and you're thinking you haven't bought Brian McCarthy, Luke. I know, I haven't. He came through the youth academy. Would you believe it? New gen only, and our first new gen that we're featuring came from the youth academy. Brian McCarthy, though, he's got a cracking head of hair, 17 years of age, a decent midfielder, plays centre attacking midfield. That's what I like. So he is the first player locked in, and then finally we've also got Christopher Mackey, who we got from St. Patrick. So he looks decent. I think he could be a very good player if he sorts out his jumping reach. So we're going to play him at DM to begin with because we can't put him at centre-back when he can barely jump. Whether we eventually train him to be a better jumper, up the strength and jumping ability, I don't know. Or we just see how he turns out as a centre midfielder. I think that's probably the best way of going. But again, we're going into season number 3. We will have qualification for Europe. We'll probably be at a further stage than what we was last season, considering obviously we finished in second place, so our chances are just a little bit better going into season 3. But what are your chances of picking up a surprise shirt box for yourself, like I've done here? And maybe you can take a team from Ireland and try and win a European trophy. Well, there's only one way to find out. You go to surpriseshirts.co.uk and you can select the FM edition box. And again, the FM edition box, I've told you time and time again, is the perfect box for Football Manager players, because in that box you are guaranteed a team that is on the base version of Football Manager. You will never never have to download any mods. So with console players, this is the one for you as well. You can pick up your box, you open your box, the team inside will be on the game. But maybe there's certain teams that you do not want to use, i.e. Rennes, i.e. Spurs. You can put that in the box down there that you don't want any Spurs or Rennes, or maybe a team that wears blue. You're really against the color blue, and I understand it as well. You can do that, but you can also save yourself some money, and this is where I come in. Your friend Omega Luke, who's always here for you when you need a Football Manager video. He is also here for you today, because if you use OL10 at checkout, you get yourself 10% off. Brilliant. What about if you're getting a subscription box though, Luke? If you're getting a subscription box, which means you're going to get a new box every single month, if you use code OL20, you get 20% off your first box. Unbelievable value for money there from surpriseshirts.co.uk, so make sure you check those guys out. They are fantastic to work with. There's a reason why I'm always working with them, and other creators are as well. They are just simply the best. So go down to the description. There is a link for surpriseshirts.co.uk. Click on that link, use code OL10 or OL20 at the checkout, get yourself some discounts, and get yourself a box for Football Manager, because soon, hopefully, we might hear stuff for a new game, and then you know, you can do whatever you want, but right now you might be struggling for a save. Thank you very much to Surprise Shirts for sponsoring today's video. Now, in terms of European football, Season 3 was rather grueling. We went through the Champions League qualification stage to begin with and was knocked out. However, this meant we only had one round of qualifying to get into the Europa League phase, and after a defeat in the first leg, we put on a performance at home, winning the fixture 6-0 and on aggregate 8-3, meaning we have now qualified for the Europa League phase for next season. And at this point, I thought, after looking at our fixtures, that although we probably won't stand a chance, it will just be great for financial reasons, obviously. Reputation as a whole might increase, but financially, put up a fight and you'll get obviously a little bit of money at the end of the day to bring in some new talents. But we've gone one further than that, because in our first 4 league phase games, we've only gone and defeated one of the best European clubs in the competition in RB Leipzig in an unbelievable performance that you're witnessing right now, a 2-1 win at home. Now, although the rest of the fixtures haven't quite gone our way, to be honest, it hasn't been a bad experience in Europe so far. We're 31st, obviously after picking up just our 1 win, but with 4 games remaining, who knows what might happen. Alas, away from Europe and back to Ireland though, we keep our job in hand. We've yet again gone on and won the league, which is great stuff, and this time by 20 points. So we're actually dominating, which, I mean, we haven't really added anybody to our team, which is like super unbelievable and obviously increased our quality, but we've added the 2 new gens and they've done very well, but they got us qualification for Europe. Development wise, I mean, Brian McCarthy has certainly developed, really has, but I don't think Mackie has developed very well at all. I'm not really quite sure how we've managed to go on and do so well, especially when in Europe, beating RB Leipzig, I have to say it again. But we are runner-up in the cup, unfortunately. This time round, we lost to Bray Wanderers, but that's absolutely fine. Our main focus is, of course, just winning the league so that we can continue qualifying for Europe at the highest stage possible to get ourselves into Europe, and that process of earning money and upping our reputation, which you can see here, has ultimately changed and will increase hopefully by the end of the season. Finances are looking good. We've got £3.3 million in there right now, which is great. 1.7 million in the transfer budget, which is fantastic. And we're now going into season 3.5 if you're looking at like the European leagues, and obviously season 4 for us. So there are going to be a lot of new gens popping up, and I'm thinking this is the season where we up this a little bit, maybe go to UK and Ireland or go to Europe and start focusing on bringing players from outside of just Ireland to increase our chances of finding a nice little hidden gem, because that's when the process starts. You find some good players. Ultimately, we're still quite small, so we'll probably have them picked off for a lot of money that compared for us, and then we just generate that money back into buying new younger players, and hopefully the reputation goes up because we keep doing well in Europe. That's the plan anyway. That was the plan, and that's what we did. We upped the scouting range to Europe. In terms of scouts itself, we now have 4, which is fantastic, and the transfers that we brought in reflected that, because although we only brought in 3, we spent £1.5 million, and we did bring in a player from Villarreal for nearly £1 million. One Carlos Lema easily goes into our team as one of the best players, but as you can see, he plays as a right winger, and we've been playing a narrow diamond, so we're going to have to do something about that. Other players, though, we've brought in Josh Riley for just under 300k. He also looks like a fantastic young prospect. And Callum Dillon, who is coming from St. Patrick's again for 275 up to 350. Again, looks like a very good centre-back or could be centre defensive midfield. Tactically, then, we have switched things around from the narrow diamond formation. We only have one good striker because Lys Mousset has left the club anyway, and I'm beginning to lock in a lot of players that you can see here. Glenn McLaughlin, another player that has come through our youth academy with 5-star potential, so we're kind of doing our job for us. He looks great already, and I'm going to lock him into that left centre-back position. We've got Christopher Mackey in there again, as well as Max Devlin being locked into those 3 positions, and we're going again with Morrissey in goal. Now, unbelievably, in Europe, we went on to win 2 more league phase fixtures, which puts us up to 3 wins and actually gave us a chance of qualifying, but then we lost the next 2. That was just enough, though, to scrape through. 9 points with a -8 goal difference. We lost 5 times, but we won 3. We are playing knockout football with a team from Ireland in Season 4. Unbelievably, in the knockout stage, we had to play the playoffs against Dynamo Kiev, and in the first leg at home, we pulled off a miracle and beat them 2-0. Not only that, in the second leg, we managed to hold strong and actually managed to qualify for the round of 16, where we then went on to face West Ham United. We weren't exactly embarrassed either. We lost 5-1 on aggregate against West Ham, but just getting to the round of 16 will do us wonders for the following few seasons. This season qualifying stage, however, wasn't quite as good as last season's. We were knocked out in the same stage in the Champions League, but the Europa League fixture we also lost, unfortunately, to this team here, who is from Lithuania. Unfortunately, losing against them meant we then go into the Europa Conference League next season, but that's not a bad thing, because I definitely think we stand a chance. Alright, right now, we've played 3 games. We've only won 1 of them. We have lost 2, but we've played against the 2 most difficult teams in qualification. We've got Sevilla and Nantes, which 2 teams I wouldn't expect us to win anyway. The remaining fixtures are all very winnable games. We can't even see the following fixtures. We have to go to next season before we see anything else. Actually, I don't even think they come up, are they? We're only playing 6 in Europa Conference League. So these are our main 3 fixtures, and I think we could potentially win at least 2 of them. Maybe even Red Star, we could beat them as well, which means we will then qualify. Who knows how well we will do, but we're still doing fantastically well. We're still winning the league just this season by a point. So I think this tactic, obviously we've had to change things around to allow us to play a winger, has suffered a little bit in the league, but Lema is just unbelievable. We cannot leave him out of the side, and I don't want to just shoehorn him into the tactic we had previously when he is that good on the wings, because crossing ability of 15, yeah, we can't deny that. We've been given £5 million to spend this transfer window, which is unbelievable. Our reputation star-wise hasn't gone up, though. I thought it would. I keep asking for better training facilities. You can see we're up to 3.5-star training facilities, which is absolutely fantastic. And financially, we've got £6.5 million in the bank, and I'm hoping with some wins in the Europa Conference League, that will help things go along as well. We're still at the minute, though, relying on Whelan for goals. He has got 30 goals this season, and he keeps getting good seasons as well. We are getting a lot of assists, though, from Lema, and eventually we hopefully will have a full Newgen side with a couple of Irish players in there as well. Glenn McLaughlin has been a godsend to come through our youth academy. He's fantastic. So he's a left-sided player, which means he can actually fit in at left back and left centre back. Well, he isn't a left-sided player because he's doing it fairly strong. He just likes playing there, and I can't say no to him. So there he is. Glenn is doing very well for us, development-wise, performance-wise. We're in a good spot right now. We're in a very good spot again. I can't believe we even got to the round of 16 of Europa League, but maybe we'll go even further this season in the Europa Conference. Well, I was right about the Europa Conference League fixtures. We won 2 more games, including against Red Star, and have managed to qualify for the playoffs in 19th place. I also went through and spent a lot of money this season so that we go into the next season with a fair amount of new gens in the side, and tactically you can see they're dotted around everywhere. So let's take a look at some of the best ones. Now, I know this is the fun bit, so let's take a look. We've got Jose at At the back, Jose is a Spanish 18-year-old that we've picked up from Melilla. 425k goes straight into our first team at centre-back. Cracking player straight away. McLaughlin's then gone out to the left, which is absolutely fine. We mentioned that you can do that. Brandel in centre midfield. He is a Norwegian 18-year-old midfielder, and he looks absolutely fantastic. Don't ask me to pronounce the name that he's just come from. That is way too many letters in the alphabet to use for one single name, but we got him on a free transfer. Can't deny that that is an unbelievable deal. Lema obviously is still out on the wings, but up front now, we no longer have, and this could be a bad thing, Whelan, because we've replaced him with two better players. We've got Miles Craigo, who is an English centre forward that we've picked up from Lincoln. Tom FM loves this. We signed for 2 million. I know it's a lot, but he is really good. You can see, I mean, he's got some traits that I don't like, comes deep to get bored, but now that we have enough strikers, I have bumped him up into that forward position, so he almost acts as like a 4-3-3 formation for us. But Cesar up front is the man for us because he has 20 determination, great work rate, unbelievable pace, and he can finish. 16 for finishing. So I'm thinking that this guy, 18 years of age, that we picked up from Numancia for 500k could be the one to take over Whelan in terms of the goals, because that's what I've been aiming to do. I don't want to go on and win a European competition with obviously half the team not being Newgens, as great as Colm Whelan has been for us. And he has been great, don't get me wrong. He can feature on the bench if he sticks around a long time, but hey, right now, we've also got some good options as well from the bank, because from the bench. We've got Blanco, who sometimes I think might be better than Craigo because he looks really good and he's got some high strength there. There's other players that we have picked up that could go into the team that we might not see right now, but maybe later. I've even spending some big money on some Irish players and then like using them sparingly elsewhere. But yeah, there's a lot of options for us now going forward, and I'm picking up free transfers, which I'm enjoying as well, still managing to find the bargains despite having a good amount in the budget that we could really push on for this season. We failed to show ourselves in glory this time round in Europe, unfortunately losing to NEC 4-1 on aggregate in the Europa Conference League. However, a lot of optimism going into next season because we have picked up Europa League football yet again after being knocked out of the Champions League qualifications and winning our Europa League tie. However, I do think we have been given a tough run of games if we were looking to actually qualify for the Europa League. Our first 6 fixtures are really difficult, and our end too, I mean Leipzig, they are definitely going to get revenge on us. But then, you can never write this team from Ireland off because they are now classed as the Irish Giant Killers after what they have done this season. I know it's only one fixture, but we have just defeated Aston Villa 6-1 in Dublin. Aston Villa. And you can see they've got an unbelievable team as well. They were playing Ollie Watkins, they were playing John McGinn, Leon Bailey, Boubacar Kamara, like far better players than what we have in our team. And yet Jose Antonio Blanco picked himself up a hat-trick, and then the Europa League phase, we are actually sat right now in 18th with 2 wins in 4 games. We lost against Valencia Monaco without scoring a goal, but we still did very, very well in the other fixture. I'm so pleased with how this has turned out. I genuinely thought this might be a very difficult challenge, but it's kind of in our sights already. I think we're on the right track. We were knocked out in the first round by Rockmount AFC in the cup. Don't know what happened there. They're well done to them. But in the league, we continue to win the league, and that's important because we want to get the highest qualification purpose for that season, and we can't get that if we're finishing in 2nd and 3rd. We'll go into the Europa Conference League. That actually might not be a bad thing. No, I can't think like that. We have to keep on winning the league. 71 points this season. Very good. Aitor Cesar got 29 goals, which is very good. Blanco, though, was really good too with 33, and he played a lot less games. Miles Craigo still played a lot, and he got a lot of assists on top of his goals of 16 and 15. And Vigo Brandel 10 and 14 with Lame again 18 from the wing. We've got a cracking little team coming up here. I've started doing things now which you might see in other videos too because it works. If I have been trying to play a player and they never get any good, I put failed as their nickname, which you can do right there, because then you don't waste your time with them anymore. Maybe you can try and get rid of them. So yeah, unfortunately, Christopher Mackey was a failed experiment. He never really developed, whereas Glenn McLaughlin, quite good. So that's the idea. I don't want to get these players confused. because the new gen faces are so bad that I never really look to see what they look like. So I'm going off names, and I am terrible with names, and you know that, Steve. Transfer budget for next season, £3.87 million. Again, I've just got to be very aware, because every time it runs out at the end of the season, of making sure I've got enough in the wage budget, scouting budget, sorry, and transfer budget. So for instance there, 1.7 will still give me the world access if I wanted to, or I could just go down to Europe, etc., to find these players. But my scouting team, yeah, we're struggling, if I'm honest. We've got 5 now, which isn't too bad. I can add an extra scout there. Every time I'm asking, sometimes they're saying yes, sometimes they're saying no. Reputation, though, 2.5 stars. I'll take that. Now, with our remaining fixtures in Europe, I made the joke, didn't I, about Leipzig wanting to get their revenge. And when we played them in Germany, they scored in the opening minute of the game, pretty much from kickoff through Lois Openda. But then something I didn't expect to happen, we went on and actually equalised. You can see Blanco has worked very well down the wing to get himself across and find Wilson, who is a very lucky to then find Cesar in the box there to make it 1-1. Well, we actually went on to win the game 3-1, and yes, I can't believe it either. And when you see how we get on in the league phase, I think it might shock you even more than that. Now, just a reminder, we're only in the start of season 6. This is our 5th season that we've just ended, and obviously our 5th season, I think, in Europe, maybe even 4th. We finished the top 8 of the Europa League with an Irish team. 5 wins. We beat Leipzig, Rangers, Villa, Rapid Bucharest and Copenhagen. We only lost 3, and to be honest, we didn't do that bad either. Hibernian was a bit of a disappointment if we're being frank and we're being truthful. But we're going through to the Europa League round of 16 without having to go through the playoffs. And we've been given AZ Alkmaar. I actually fancy our chances, you know. Call me stupid. I know you like to, but I fancy our chances. And this is how I think we're going to attack it. Yes, we're going 3 up front. And we're going to chuck a player from that wing there to the wing, because obviously we've got Labour from the midfield to the wing. We've got more strikers than we have midfielders. That's what I want to do. We've only actually got 1 player, really, remaining in the team that's not a new gen anymore, in Kian Byrne. But I think we're doing all right. Transfer-wise, that have just come in, let's have a look at some of the better ones that we can see in the team there. And I'm still looking to bring in more too. We've got Kravets, who's here. To be honest, will probably play right back this season. I like him a lot. Then we've got a few players that we've actually picked up on free transfers that are going straight into the team. You seen Babic up there? Here's Babic. He's a centre defensive midfielder. Very good player as well from Croatia. Miguel Lopez, I think, was also in the team. Oh my God, look at that. Look at that. He is so good. 19 years of age, free transfer. Now, I know everybody's going to be asking, how are you going to do that? Well, you need to start following me on TikTok and Instagram, because that's where I'm going to post how I find these players. There's a couple of methods, to be honest. I haven't got time to go through it here, but follow me on TikTok, Omega Luke, or Instagram, Omega Luke Gaming. You'll find me on there. Drop me a follow, please, you absolute legends. Let's get some numbers up on that, because I'm going to post a video about how I find these players this week. So you make sure you follow me on there so you can see it, because he is great, and I got him on a free transfer. Very good stuff indeed. Cordero, again, not bad at left back. Charlie Simpson from Gateshead, very good player. Gateshead's getting a shout out in this video. Look at that. Chester as well, another player there. One from Cork, Willie Coughlin. I don't know. He's centre midfielder though, and he looks great. So he goes straight into the team as well. You can see there. Our team is looking really good now. I fancy our chances against AZ Alkmaar. You can't tell me otherwise. I think we stand a very good chance. When Blanco isn't getting into the starting 11, it's such a shame you can't play 4 strikers. I really wish you could. I was correct to be confident about AZ Alkmaar. We defeated them in the first leg despite the kick clash, 6-1, and 0-0 in the second leg means we went through. However, a very disappointing quarter-final round, because we lost to Slavia Prague across 2 legs, 5-2, but we go again for next season. However, this summer we went one further and did something we have yet to do in this challenge of our quest of trying to win a European trophy, because we have actually gone and qualified for the UEFA Champions League, and in the league phase, after 5 games, we have actually won a game against against Anderlecht and lost the other 4. Another first round exit though to the University College of Dublin, which is rather embarrassing, but another league title, and we completely dominated this season. No losses at all. 98 points, 102 goal difference, and if you're looking at the player statistics, Blanco, Lopez and Cesar, our Spanish strikers, are just having fun here in Ireland. But of course, with Champions League football comes a lot of cash. We've got £21 million in the bank now, and our transfer budget for the next season is £13 million. But with another victory against another Belgian side in Club Brugge, we needed just one win in our final fixture against Porto to actually qualify through the Champions League. And we smashed them out of the park, beating them 4-0 in Dublin, meaning that we qualified in that final spot in the Champions League phase with 3 wins and 5 losses, 9 points, and we go through to the knockout playoff round, where we've got to face Galatasaray. Yes, it's going to be very difficult to get past one of the best teams in Turkey, but we've still got £7 million in our bank as we are ending the transfer window. And look how we are being bombarded with the players that we have got. Willie Coughlin from Newcastle, 245. Miguel Lopez, we've got a lot of offers coming in for him. They're just nowhere near what I value them, though. That's the trouble. You know, at the minute, I'm not looking to sell at all. We've unfortunately lost 2 of the players already because of release clauses. Aitor Cesar's gone for 650k, only at 20 years of age. And the goalkeeper we had at the start, he's also left too. But we have brought in quite a lot of players again, and you can see we're also letting good players go and loaning players too. I'll talk you through some of the good ones because, again, there's just far too many to really pick out. But Heatley from Boreham Wood is our new goalkeeper, and he is great. Very good player that we have picked up from England there. We've got Soren Anderson from who's another goalkeeper actually, who might play as a bit of a bit part. But then we've got a third goalkeeper. So I'm kind of like in two minds of what I want to do with the goalkeeper because we've got so many. Prayer definitely will go into the team because there's a Romanian centre-back who is left-footed. Again, very good option for us. And then going forward, if we're looking at the tactic here, we can see the names that will get changed and going into the starting 11 from what you're used to is not as many as what it was when we were buying new gen players to begin with. And that's because now the new gens that we are finding are either as good or just slightly growing into players that we have already got. Our strike force of Craigo, Blanco and Lopez, unbelievable. They're getting better and better each season, and they're still really young as well, so hopefully we can keep hold of them, because we're not going to win a European trophy if we just sell all of them, because we can't replace them. Our reputation is not high enough for new gens to go, I want to go to Bohemian. Right now, we're still struggling to do that. What we weren't struggling with, though, was defying the odds and defeating giants in European competitions. Because after a 4-1 first leg win, a 2-2 draw in the second leg, we now go through to the round of 16 of the Champions League to face Barcelona. We held on, and actually in the first leg done ourselves quite proud because it was 3-2 going into the stoppage time until Barcelona scored 2 more goals. But in the second leg, when they came to Dublin, it was a 1-1 draw, meaning although we were knocked out, a 6-3 aggregate scoreline is nothing to be ashamed of against Barcelona. We are ready to do it all over again though, because after another very good round of qualifications, we're in the Champions League phase for next season with PSG, Milan, Benfica, and then we've got Chelsea and Manchester United as our final 2 fixtures in the league phase. Season 7 came to a very good end though in terms of domestic titles. We won the league, we won the cup, and because of the finances with the Champions League money, we now have nearly £50 million in the bank and have £27 million to spend in our transfer window. Season 8 won't also be celebrated with European knockout football though, because we only won 2 games. We drew against Benfica and unfortunately we lost 5 against some of the biggest clubs in the continent. We also say goodbye to Jose Antonio Blanco, who was picked up from Villarreal. Unfortunately our board just accepted an 800k offer, despite him probably being worth to us a lot more than that considering how much we got in the bank. But he wanted to leave after interest was shown, and we've had to go about finding a lot of replacements, and we have spent £9 million, which is nowhere near the amount that we had in our budget, but Unfortunately, we still cannot quite find the players. Our club reputation has increased, but still only at a national level, and our training facilities has kind of stagnated. They are not accepting anything else right now. Staff-wise, we have brought in 11 different scouts, so we are still being able to find the players. It's just persuading them to come to Bohemian. I am hoping that will change, though, if we continue to regularly get Champions League football, because once again, after a very good qualification stage, we find ourselves in the Champions League phase. We got to face some of the big boys again, like Barcelona, like Roma, like Arsenal and Besiktas at the end in January. Season 8 seeing our 7th title in a row in terms of the Irish domestic title, only picking up 1 loss as well, and we're still scoring a lot of goals, which is good, including the new man Marquez coming in and filling in Blanco's boots. But what is shocking is what we're doing in the Champions League, because right now we are currently sat in 6th place with 3 wins from 4 and 2 5-0 wins in the league phase. And we continue doing so. We picked up another 2 wins and actually finished in the top 8 of the Champions League qualification stage, meaning we skip the playoff spot. So after the disappointment of last season, that's unbelievably positive. And now we're starting to see the changes after 3 seasons in the Champions League, because the money we've been able to spend is quite a lot for Irish football. We've just spent £10 million on a player from Wrexham. 10.5 in fact. He's a very good centre defensive midfielder though, and in this position that we've been struggling in, he comes in and he could be really good for us. An absolutely solid player. We have also spent £5 million from another Welsh team, Swansea City, for Peter Harris, and Peter is another midfielder, and this is just giving us really good options. He's from Northern Ireland and he will help us in that midfield. But we've also got Marius Popa for £2.1 million. Now I think we found our goalkeeper after buying 3 like last year, because this guy's even better. And this is what's happening now. Our club reputation is just slightly creeping up and up and up, that more players are going, do you know what? I'm open to a move to Bohemians in Ireland because they've got something good going on right now. And the kit is absolutely sexy. I want to wear that kit. And that's what's happening. We're still picking up bargains. I mean, look how good this guy is. 6K. A reminder, go across to the Instagram, go across to the TikTok, Omega Luke. You can follow me on there and I will show you exactly how I've been able to find some of these. Another free transfer. Look how good this is. I'll talk you through the database. I'll talk you through filters, etc. of how I'm finding these players, because in season number 9, we have found some beauties. Our Champions League run was good though. After knocking out Feyenoord in the round of 16, we come up against Sporting in the following round and unfortunately lost 2-1 on aggregate, despite getting a 1-1 draw in that second leg. They just had too much for us this season. A player we didn't highlight though was Sebastian Campos, who I brought in for £1 million last season, and he has been so good that we've actually changed the structure of our tactic to play again 2 centre midfielders, this time on attack. And I think this could be a game changer for us, because we went and won the league, we went and won the cup, and in the start of the Champions League this season we have beaten Sparta Prague and we have drawn against Ajax and Atletico Madrid without conceding a goal. And although we won't go through to the top 8 of the Champions League phase, we did manage to get ourselves into that playoff spot again with another win against Benfica. But this is possibly our craziest transfer window yet, because we have spent £18 million and we have brought in basically an £18 million player and 2 free transfers. We've got a Belgian Domenico Moulander, who is going to be our new centre-back. He doesn't look amazing, but I've had to take a gamble because there's not a lot of centre-back options, but he is a big boy as well. But wait until you see the 2 free transfers. We've got Stepanek, 55k. He is going to be a very good left-back in the future. I've even given him some game time already. But Mateus Fernandes from Nacional on a free transfer might be our best signing yet. In the Champions League, we were given a tough draw in the knockout playoff round against Atletico Madrid, and unfortunately, after being 4-2 up at half-time, they scored 2 very late on. And that really killed us, to be honest, because in the second leg, what we played in Madrid, they went on and won 5-2, which is still great because we scored 2 goals, but I felt like going in with a 4-2 advantage would have been amazing. Never mind though, because we rock on through for this season. We've got another cup win, we've got another league win, which means we are absolutely dominating the Irish division now, and I am trying to loan out a lot of our players to these clubs. They're just not saying yes, but that is another unbeaten season. In the Champions League, we have qualified yet again for the league phase. We have picked up 2 victories already in our first 4 games, and hopefully going forward, it isn't going to be as difficult as what it was the last couple of seasons, and maybe we could finish in that top 8, although we do have Arsenal and Monaco next, followed by Nice and Lazio. Financially, because of what we are now spending in terms of wages and of course transfers, we're staying around this 40 to 50 mark in the bank. We've got £13 million in the transfer budget for next season. We haven't got any debts though, which is kind of positive. However, reputation wise, we have now gone up to 3 stars, which is amazing. And amazingly, the training facilities is 4.5 stars as well, which I have been asking to do each time. Staff wise, 14 scouts, which is great, and 15 coaches. I'm trying every time to go down to make board requests to improve these things. In the Champions League though, just the 3 wins that we managed to get with 2 draws. We picked up 3 losses in total against the 3 English clubs, but we have qualified for the knockout playoff round, and we've been given Villarreal in the next leg. Now we've actually got quite a lot of departures, mainly because we've bought so many players that a lot of players are just wanting to leave on free transfers because we're not giving them enough game time. But also our boards still don't quite understand how much money we have, and they just keep accepting very small offers. So Miles Craigill's gone to Bournemouth for £1.1 million. That's ridiculous. He has been playing so well for us. He went in the summer last year, which is annoying. But we also lost Willie Coughlin, not quite sure, but he was the Irish guy that we signed a long time ago for 350k. He went for £1.2 million to Inter Milan, and again, we could have really done without that. He was a cracking player for us that we kind of use it in rotation. But a lot of players have left in terms of free transfers and going out for money, and you can see that this window I decided to just go all out on the one player that was really interested, that I thought could be amazing for us. And yes, he's got a banging name of Brian Hoogenboom. Yes, the Hoogmeister. He's from Utrecht, 19 years of age, Dutch player that we have picked up, a striker, likes to beat the offside trap, very quick, good balance, great decision making, and can finish. I know he's kind of a lot of money for what he is, but when you're scouting for Newgens and you're not getting a lot of options, when a player like this comes up and he's called Brian Hoogenboom, you just have to go for it. Omega League will tell you to go for it every single time. So £30 million, we're bringing him in. I reckon he could be amazing for us, so I think I might actually lock him in into that DLF role. Him and Stepanek are going to be locked in this season. Stepanek looks quite good. He just needs some game time as well on that left-hand side. I struggled really for fullbacks, as you always do when you're looking for new gens. But the rest of this team is very good still, as long as they don't get picked off, because we've got Fernandez, who we picked up on a free transfer. He is a great striker, and last season that we picked him up 30 goals in 31 games. Unbelievable. So we know we've got him in the bag, and we don't have to worry about it too much. But he doesn't have a minimum fee release clause, so if they accept it, it's not me who's doing it. Campos and Ivanchenko in the midfield are 2 cracking players that we've got. We still got Lema. Do you remember how long ago we signed Lema? He's 26 now, plus he's taken up an Irish heritage. So he's got 6 caps for Ireland, which is amazing. We signed him for 925k so long ago from Villarreal. I love that. We're going into season 11 now, and he is like an icon here. I'm really excited. We've got Lopez still at the club as well, who will do well off the bench. Miguel Lopez, again, he was a free transfer. He has been here a long time too. So we've got a lot of like honorary members of Ireland now, because I mean he's actually not played for Portugal. I wonder how close he is to becoming Irish. Still a long time. He has completed it. He just sees no benefit of actually. The benefit is you get to play for Ireland, because you ain't playing for Portugal, Miguel. That would be great if he also did it. I'm sure he's already gone past it, but yeah. Okay, so yeah, we're going into the next season. We've got to play Villarreal, who we obviously bought Lema off. That's going to be interesting to see if we can get any further in the Champions League. Well, a 7-0 win against Villarreal in the first leg, with 2 goals being scored by Brian Hoogenboom, meant that we definitely qualified for the next round, and we faced PSG next. That, of course, was a bit more of a trickier tie, and unfortunately as far as we got, but 6-1 on aggregate. We still did ourselves proud getting to that point, and unfortunately the win against Villarreal meant for nothing, but we go again in season 11, where something devastating happened that you might say actually will work in our favour going into the following season. So I kind of ballsed up the Champions League qualification stage. We lost 4-2 in the first leg to HJK and only beat them 2-1. But that means we are now in the Europa League. Now, there are still some very good teams in the Europa League with Newcastle, West Ham, Valencia, some obviously clubs we dislike in Rennes. They are obviously there. But we do stand a bit of a better chance of winning this than we do the Champions League. So we're in the midst of season 11. We're going through. We've already been crowned champions before the end of the season. There's still a fair amount of games left and we're unbeaten, so we don't have to worry about that. But next season, we can really focus on this Europa League. And that's exactly what we did. We went through, we beat the teams in the Europa League put in front of us, and we qualified through the league phase rather comfortably, you might say, because we won 8 out of our 8 fixtures and finished top of the league phase of the Champions League with 24 points, meaning not only do we skip the knockout playoff round and go straight into the round of 16, but we are the most feared team in the competition. Once more, we have spent all of our transfer budget on one single player, £40 million for Peter Watson from Rangers, just gives us another option from centre midfield. But we've also got Geigel come in, who's a left back option that can kind of give a little bit of threat to Stepanek in that left back position on a free transfer from Bayern Munich, because tactically Stepanek has been very good in that role, although he isn't exactly developing as quick as what I hoped. Hoogenboom though definitely has, and his goals last season was fantastic. He got 21 with 11 assists, and he's also learnt to beat the offside trap. In the round of 16 of the Europa League though, we faced Benfica and lost the first leg 2-1, but in the home leg we picked up a 4-0 victory, meaning we won 5-2 on aggregate and will go through to the quarterfinals to face Dutch side PSV. And with back-to-back European 4-0 wins, we then won 2-1 in the second leg, meaning that we won 6-1 on aggregate and now go to the semi-final of the Europa League, the furthest we have been, and we've got Besiktas to play. But if we get past them, it's Newcastle or Valencia in the final. We cannot think like that though. We got to take this game as it comes. And Besiktas, we won a penalty early on and Ivanchenko stepped up, but it was missed. Thankfully, however, we wasn't waiting too long after the penalty was taken to eventually take the lead with a lovely 1-2, which was then intercepted by Hoogenboom and put into the back of the net. However, that wasn't the only goal scored of the game. With a corner took to the back post, it was headed clear. Watson knocked it down, there to Moratala, and Kamara smashed it into the bottom corner to make it 2. With that game in Istanbul finishing 2-0, we then welcomed them to Dublin, where we took the lead early on, just 3 minutes gone to put us 3-0 up on aggregate thanks to Fernandez, and we are already looking towards the final. And we stayed strong, and thankfully we only conceded 1 goal against a very good Besiktas side, and that was scored in the 79th minute, meaning we never really looked in danger. However, we've got to play a very good Newcastle United team in the final. They defeated Valencia, and that's who we will be facing in the final. And if we're looking at Newcastle's team under Xabi Alonso, by the way, they've got some fantastic players that of course would walk into our team, with Burrito being probably their best player. A striker that we have got to stop. I say a striker, he looks like a great striker, he could play there, but it looks like they've been playing him either right mid or centre attacking midfielder. So, I mean, you can't even scout that. Where is he going to play is the question. Tactically, of course, he plays in a 3 at the back system. And Burrito has been playing in behind Jafari up front with Arda Güler. Jafari looks really good too. Arda Güler, of course, we know he could be absolutely amazing. So the front 3 there, that could be causing us a lot of trouble. They've obviously got a lot of experience because they've got some real players still left in this, and we are nearly 12 seasons in. So like Angelo Stiller is 33 years of age now, despite being like 20 in real life. Sven Botman's still going at age 34. So we're 34 in this, and we have finally got to a European final. It's the Europa League though, and it's Newcastle who stand in our way. So with the stage set, we just needed a performance, but we were 1-0 down within 10 minutes. However, on the 41st minute, going into the half-time point, Miguel Lopez fired us back 1-1. And that's when, in the second half, you're all gonna laugh, because Hoogenboom is on the score sheet, firing in a second into the bottom corner. And with the score at 2-1 to Bohemian, and with a Hoogenboomer, what could finish this off? A second Hoogenboomer to make it 3. And with that, we have won the Europa League, and Bohemians, the team that we pulled out of the surprise shirt box, has gone on to win a European trophy, defeating Newcastle in the final with 2 Hoogenboomers. It does not get any better than that. I am so pleased with that, and I'm so proud of the team that we have built from this. I mean, Hoogenboom himself, great development in there. He's only 20 years of age. But the players that we have picked up, the likes of Ivanchenko, who has turned out to be our best player, he's 21. We got him for £6,000, which is unbelievable. And I'll tell you what, you can play this save on if you wish, or you can look at the tactic, look at the players. If you go to the patreon.com/MegaLukeGaming or the YouTube channel members, you can get the save game file. I'll pop it up on there, because this story deserves to be taken forward by you guys. You can then carry it on and hopefully win the Champions League in the very near future. Some of these players are so good and deserve to be playing in the Champions League. They get that now after winning the Europa League. A fantastic performance. We're actually currently second in the league, but that's only because we've only played 14 games so far. But what a season. It took us 11.5 seasons to win a European trophy with a team from Ireland. Thank you very much for watching. I really do appreciate it. Make sure you are subscribed to the channel. And of course, if you want to pick up a surprise shirt box, you can go to surpriseshirts.co.uk or use the link at the top of the description and use OL10 for your single purchase, or OL20 if you're getting a subscription for like 10 or 20% off your first box. Thank you very much for everybody who supports Surprise Shirts through my link or using my code, because you help them come back and want to do videos like this, and it makes for such fun content and challenges. Really hope you've enjoyed this one though. Let me know down in the comments whether your prediction was correct, and of course check out this video on screen, because this, I think, might be my best ever video, because I replayed the last 4 decades of football, and boy, it was like a movie.